right, welcome back to the District of Unity podcast. Today, we are talking about the old generation versus the new generation. And this is not a topic I came up with. This is Mr. Brandon's topic. So why don't you get us started?
All right. So here's what I came up with this topic because there's a lot of ideas that's going through my head, and from our last previous video stuff and what we covered, and I noticed that there's a big gap between what the older generation has to offer with their knowledge and the newer generation when it comes to being humble and respecting your seniorities.
Right.
And with that said, you got this whole thing of the miscommunication between the two.
Okay.
And then you got my newer generation that's pushing on the agenda of being inclusive to all these other ideas that are involved in politics.
Right.
And you got the older generation, you got a lot of them that are reacting, man, things aren't the way they used to be. Or you get the some of them where they'll hop on the new generation train because they think that they know more than themselves. When no, you guys have been on here you guys been on this earth before we was born. So that means you guys have a lot more knowledge to offer to us than anything. And it's sad because my new generation lacks the communication. They lack so much when it comes to trying to be that one unity that we need to be.
And let me do my monologue on it. I think with the old generation, we're a lot of the blame because in my time coming up, it began to be, the generation that came directly after me. The television started raising the kids. I mean, they kept calling it the boob tube, as my parents would call it, because, my parents were born in the 40s. I had a couple of uncles and aunts that was born from the 1920s to the 1940s and so forth. And television to them was brand new because not everybody had a television until the 1950s. It was a radio generation. So once they got past the radio, because they got used to us talking without the picture, which would be a podcast now that you will listen to on the way somewhere, but that was always with the radio. And they did books off of the radio too. One of the famous ones was the Orson Welles one where it was like Martians was attacking, and people literally was running out of the streets because they thought that was a real story that was happening, not knowing that he was reading a play based off of a book. I think it was War of the Worlds or something like that. Anyhow, where I'm getting at with this, we, from my generation, was too reliant on having a television, having eventually the computers, the internet, raise the kids. And then we wouldn't answer their questions directly. We would have some of the answers to it. We had functional knowledge, meaning that we had to actually use the knowledge that we have. And I think a lot of the younger generation has a lot more knowledge, but they don't have anywhere to apply it. And I'm going to let you get your point. I'm going to let you get your point before you even get started.
Oh, yeah.
So once we got through that, it was like, okay, we started complaining about the results. Okay, the kids started. What is the one thing that people gravitate towards when they're out there trying to thirst for knowledge? They will go to entertainment before they would go to education. And that's where we started complaining about what is wrong with these kids? Why are they doing this? And then they see us doing certain things in certain situations, not applying. There's a situation where we would act this way, and then they didn't have the filters that we had. Now I'm going to
chime in with that because you brought up something right there that helped me realize something about the two generations here. I realized that the older generation didn't grow up with the technology that we have, so therefore there was like, how you say it, They was being appreciative of the technology that was coming out. My generation, we already had the technology. Now we got people who are so unappreciative. You got people that are going to entertainment. They want to be the entertainment, and it's sad because the entertainment is nothing but what is it? I get it. There's a lot of entertainment out there that is valuable. Sports, music, what else? Acting.
Mm-hmm.
You got so many of those that are very good. But then you got a lot of them that they're trying to start off when they're young. You got my generation that are trying to grow up too early, too soon. They think that they have all the knowledge to push themselves when you're only what? A teen?
Mm-hmm.
You're a teenager. You think you're a grown adult. You're not.
Well,
You're a young adult.
Well, where do you think the problem came from with that attitude?
That problem with the attitude came from neglecting of the parents not teaching the kids discipline, and also with the fact about they're not raising their kids on what they need, rather than they're only giving their children what they never had growing up.
Yeah.
See, and that's where parents get that gray area in, because my dad made sure that I was raised into what I needed as a child, not only what I wanted. So, because it's like when your parents are trying to get you to eat solid food for the first time. You need to eat the food before you're able to enjoy the junkies.
Right.
Because the junkies are just a snag, and you have too much of that, it's not good. That's why you need the natural nourishments from the natural food that your mom or dad cooks for you.
Mm-hmm.
And what, again, you got so much of my generation that are being unappreciative of that. Oh yeah, oh that's what you're supposed to do. Like, hold on.
Right.
No, it does not work like that. We are not here. We were not put here to criticize our parents.
Right.
Our parents know. Listen, if anything about our parents, they know that they're not perfect.
Right.
I know I'm not perfect, and I'm gonna be a dad.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna make sure I'm be the best dad that I can be with the examples that I've had, or the examples that I've watched from the opposite spectrum, meaning the parents that are being neglected and stuff. And that's also teaching me something too on how can I be more involved into my kid's life.
Well, then let me ask you this, because it's interesting to me. At your age, you're 22.
Yes.
I'm in my 50s. You know what I'm saying?
So we are. I'm in the younger generation. He's in the older.
I'm definitely in the older generation. But how did you get so?
Oh, how did I get to this point where I am self-reflecting of myself?
Right.
And I'm applying it because growing up, for me, I was raised in a small church, but it wasn't really the church that I was that I was raised in. It was the fact about my parents wanted me to implement Jesus in my life. See, a person can be raised in a church all their life and not know Jesus, but when you have parents that want you to know Jesus more than the church, that's a bigger gift than anything in itself. Because it teaches you more about your self-value than what the government's trying to tell you what your value is. You got so many people that are trying to tell you, oh, you're this, yeah, you're good, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. I know, it's like that quote from Mike Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
He said this, he knows a lot of great people. I know a lot of great people, but are they good?
There you go.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
there's a lot of amazing people that we can say, oh my gosh, they did this. Oh my gosh, but what did they do for you personally? Nothing, right? So if they're not doing for you nothing personally, and you're saying that they're great, or and I get it, it's and it's smart, to think of selflessly, like, oh my gosh, you're doing this for so many other people, yet you got a lot of those celebrities that even they're lost. on their own value because they weren't raised into what they needed to be, or their parents forced them into being raised into a church instead of knowing Jesus.
Well,
instead of teaching it at home first, if you know where I'm going.
I know where you're going with it, but it seems to me that there was some bridge that was crossed where you recognized what was happening. Because
okay.
There's a lot of other kids, and coming from the older generation, I don't care where you were going to church. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So I think I know where you're asking me now. So was there any hard lessons that I had to learn the hard way?
Well, not just that, but and hear me out. It's like you got it, okay? For some reason, the knowledge hit you, and then you developed into who you are becoming.
Well,
and I don't see a lot of other kids that has the same background that's drawn to it.
My dad taught me the value of what family is supposed to be.
Okay.
Not what everybody pictures it to be. Family, financial wise, we was in a struggle, and everything that my dad taught me, he told me this: you can either I'm giving you the tools, you can either learn it the easy way or the hard way. That's up to you.
Right.
So with that said, any advice that he gives me, I want to make sure that I apply that to my lifestyle every day, and what I notice is that every day you wake up, same cycle, same thing. But what can you do to improvise to make sure that you're staying on track?
Gotcha.
How can you add some flavor into your everyday life to make sure that you're keeping on track with who you are, not only with who you are, but knowing your own self, being self-aware of your own value, and being self-aware of your own actions.
Right.
Because there's definitely times where I slipped, and obviously, again, I'm not perfect. So we've had our fair. The biggest battle that my generation is facing, and the older generation knows how to probably handle it better than us, is the temptation, and that's how the government gets involved with my generation, is because they see them. Oh yeah, they're into this, that. Oh, so she's doing okay. Let's boost her up. Oh, this person is doing that. Okay. Once they see a younger generation doing something on TikTok or something, that's how they keep tabs of you. They keep tabs of you by what you do. You're doing TikTok videos. You want to do stuff for attention. That's what the government wants.
Right.
That's how the government gets you and they catch you, and then you become rebellious against your parents when the government's giving you the green, because that's how they get you, money chasing. And one thing about being that I learned, money means nothing. Money is nothing when it comes to loyalty, trust, and honor, and integrity.
Now, I would make a slight retort about our generation, the older generation I'm speaking of. I think a lot of them gave in to the temptation, but they were good at covering it up. They were good at separating it and not bringing it home. All right, if I'm going to do some dirt, I'm going to do some dirt out there, and nobody's going to talk about it, and I'm not going to bring it back to my house. So if somebody was out there, and I'm just using this for an example. So if somebody was out there cheating, they was going to do it, and they're not going to bring that nowhere near their house. If somebody was out there, robbing a store or doing whatever, they're not going to do it in their own neighborhood. They're going to go way someplace else and do their dirt and not bring it anywhere close to their house, because they had the respect of, all right, that's my family. I don't want to get my family involved with my mess that I'm doing. I see the younger generation is more like, I don't care who sees it. I'm going to do my thing. If they're going to twerk on somebody, they're going to put it all over the internet. Yeah, I'm looking for 1 billion hits on this thing.
And this is the sad part. And then you get my younger generation type of woman, where they don't want to be looked at as sexualized. They don't want to be this, but look at the way how they're dressing. Damn near half naked.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at that, I'm like, what are you doing? Like the women in my generation, a lot of them, not saying all of them, but a lot of them are their own controversy. They are their own controversy. They don't want to accept that. Then you got a few of them who understand it and then will self-reflect and then work on themselves, so on and so forth. So you got to see. I'm not saying that all women are the same. What I'm saying is that there's a lot of women in my generation that probably carried it from the old generation because the old generation knew how to keep it hidden. But what they don't, and this is where my dad used to do that too. But now we have to become more honest with each other about a lot of things, because if we don't, and if we're gonna try to keep secrets and stuff and live that double life, that's not gonna be healthy.
No, it's not.
It's not.
You shouldn't even be living that life, period. But
exactly. But we go as humans, we fail.
Yeah.
We fall short. We're designed to fail. That's the curse that we carry from Adam and Eve. But because Jesus died for us and washed us with the blood, that's him giving us a second chance. And we're not going to win every battle, but I guarantee you that we are going to win the war as long as we become self-reflectant of our own selves.
And let me add on to some of this. With the older generation, you had women that had well-defined figures and so forth. They used to wear the mini skirts. They used to wear the leopard print outfits and stuff like that. But it was a certain attitude and class that's that generation had. It was like, okay, I may dress this way, I may do this, but I'm not going to expose my kids to it or a kid to such and such. And when it came down to dating and so forth, you got swipe right on this thing that's going on now, whereas the generation before, you actually had to go to places to meet people. You had to go to a skating rink. You had to go to church. You had to sometimes
go out and experience life.
You had to experience that person and get to know them first.
And that is the beauty of it. Back in the day, if we listen, the technology that they had back then was so little but so valuable. They valued the little things that they had. See, and back in the day, look, we got these that the government's keeping tabs on us. You got that's how they invade our privacy. Where back in the day, they didn't have that. They had the old school.
We had to do pen pals.
No, what was the old school?
Oh, you talking about the rotary phone?
Yeah, the rotary phone. Yep. At my old house. My first house when I was up in Rochester was so old, they actually still kept the phone there. I'm like, what is this? I go to my dad, is this the old school phone? Yep.
It was heavy, wasn't it?
Oh, it was heavy, yes. But I tell you what, it was awesome. It's awesome to see how much technology grew, but there's also a lot of technology that grew that is corrupt.
All access.
See?
Yeah.
And that's what's wrong. Like, even with the games, back then gaming was about spending time with the family, doing that. The Wii console, yeah, the Wii console, biggest thing ever, best thing ever with the family. It brought families together.
Right.
You know how many people went on Wii Sports? You know how many people played Mario on that sucker? That's the original Mario on there.
Yeah.
So even Legends of Zelda, but now you got they're creating these newer consoles to where now they're being distracted.
And they're streaming.
And now they're spiritually asleep.
Yeah.
They're allowing that technology to become their god.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's one thing that my parents made sure that I always understood, is that everything here is temporarily. Everything. Everything else is temporarily. But what you build with somebody else, connections, the relationships they have with someone, that'll last you a lifetime. As long as you stay with true who you are.
And see, let me expound upon what you said earlier about the girls and so forth and the women. All right, it's like on their profiles, and guys do it too, because the guys that are buff and in shape and stuff like that.
Yeah, guys become boastful once they get that body.
Yeah,
that
they show all of that. Just like the women, they'll show the TNA and all of this other stuff. But the thing of it is, it's like they get upset that they can't, one, find a man that is going for them because you don't tell them who you are. You're showing them what you have.
Exactly. See, you're putting your goods out there.
Yeah, and that's
before getting to know someone, before conversating with them, before having that conversation. And then this is what's wrong with the woman too. They'll say, "Oh, that's boring." I'm like, boring? Okay, go on. Go be that crazy somebody that go live in that fairy tale life that you want to live in, to where you won't want that perfect guy.
Right.
You're never gonna get it.
Well, see, they looking for followers. They're not looking for relationships.
There you go. And then they're so wrong with my generation. They want to seek unity without truth.
Right.
They want unity without truth.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I mean, it's the sizzle and steak theory.
They want to seek unity without communication. Mm-hmm. They want to seek unity without accepting each other for who they are, rather than accepting them for what you want them to accept you. What the heck?
And I'll
you know what I get? Oh no, like, if let's just say if I'm talking to somebody, you know, we're just, you know, I'm at work or something, you know, we're conversing, and I go, and then I meet somebody that's either they consider themselves a different sex or anything, and you know, they're like, oh no, my pronouns are this, that, and I'm like, okay, you know what? You lost it. They lack that self-recognition of accepting themselves for how God created them to be.
Right.
We're not meant to be perfect. Yes, men were made in His image, and women's heart were made from, you know, their hearts are closest to God. But that doesn't mean that we're perfect. That doesn't mean that we're meant to be perfect. That doesn't mean that, you know, oh my gosh, you know, the high standards that you set for yourself may be a little too high. Because you got a lot of people in
I'll go the other way with it. I'll say their standards are too low because they're not because they set their standards low because they're going off of what you see, not what you know. If I don't know you, but true. I'm seeing how you're built and so forth, they try to win me on their look.
Yeah, they set their bar so high, they're like, you know what, it's never going to be met, so I'm going to drop it.
Exactly.
Drop it all the way low. Drop it way below. I'm like, whoa.
And see, and it's not only that, it's just the fact that that's all they have to, that's all they can gravitate towards. They can't hold a conversation.
They want to seek so much attention that the only attention that they got to understand that they need is from Jesus.
But see, it's a whole different dynamic because see, it's like they have nothing else to go to. I'm gonna tell you, it was one girl. You all right?
Oh yeah, I'm good, brother.
I don't want to get you choked up there, but
no,
I'm messing with you. But anyhow, it was this one woman that reached out to me like maybe 3 months ago. All right, she couldn't really hold a conversation because she was like, "Well, I never had a guy ask me that before." And then next thing you know, it she's sending me a picture of her butterball naked, and I'm looking like. I didn't even ask for the picture, okay? And you know, look, she was a 7. She was a 7. She was a 7. But the whole point of the matter was, we didn't even get to that point yet, and I'm like talking to her for like 2 days, and I'm already saying everything that she has to offer, and there's no challenge there. There's no getting to know this woman, and it's like, all right, where do I go from here?
Now I'm gonna get into that. Because now I see where you're going with this, and I'm gonna put a movie analogy with it.
Go for it.
Your real soulmate is the one who challenges you to become better.
There you go.
Not someone that's gonna make it easy. Not someone that's gonna throw themselves on you. You're like, wait, I that's all I got to do. Mm-hmm. And it's sad. And then it gets the men to go, oh yeah, I can do this. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where the men lose themselves in. So you got that. That's what a true person. That's how you find true love is someone that you can challenge to show that respect for you.
Exactly.
For not only for your body, but also for your character.
Right.
And the movie analogy I'm about to go off with is the Avatar.
Okay.
I gotta
watch
with the blue
movie.
people. Listen, you watched the first one?
I did not watch the first one.
You gotta watch it. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Look, I'm like the old school person here. So you go for it.
Right.
Tell me.
So
what am I missing?
So you're missing. All right. So Jake Sully, the guy that chose to turn into the Avatar at the end. During that first movie, he was learning their ways. He was learning on, okay, how can I find the way how they once they reach a certain level of training and stuff, now they're able to find the perfect or like a flying dinosaur thing that they're supposed to, and the way how the lady told him, or the girl told him, was, these particular species are only meant to be flown with one rider.
Okay.
So it's like a dragon thing where you gotta have, it's one rider for a lifetime. That's it.
Is it mystical or futuristic?
Both.
It's okay.
Both. I'm gonna put both.
Okay.
Because the technology in there is freaking wicked too.
Okay.
But the main thing about that was she told him this, because he asked her, "How will I know that it's the one?" She goes, "When he tries to kill you." See? So again, the thing about that's some scary stuff.
Right.
That's some scary stuff, man. When you wait, I gotta tangle with this guy.
Right.
I gotta tangle with this thing first. But that's how we should be towards each other when it comes to challenging each other in a way where, okay, is this person right for me, or is this person what I need? You gotta decipher with that,
and see, that's why I always said, with myself and so forth, people always try to hook me up with certain women and all of this other stuff. I don't really need their help.
No.
I mean, it's like, I just need the right woman to be there. I've been with actually too many of them that's like not right. I need to be with the right one. And I have no problem. I mean, yeah, I'm a bigger guy and all of this other stuff, and I'm older. Dude, nowadays, women are throwing themselves at me and other men. I'm not going to make myself exclusive or whatever, because they're not getting what they thought they was going to get online by sitting over there taking bikini shots and showing all of this stuff out there, because you are what you project.
It's not only that. It's not only the pictures. Look at what they're wearing in public.
Yeah.
Look at what they're wearing in public, man. They're showing their goods out there in front of everybody, and then they expect us to not look at them in a very inappropriate way. When, hold on, first of all,
it's an attitude too.
Right, it's the attitude. With that said, why would I look at you in that way? But in number two, why would you present yourself in that way? See, it takes two to tangle.
Yeah.
Both sides can be wrong and right, but at the end of the day, you got to do some self-reflecting yourself.
You are what you project. I mean, look, if you're going to put stuff out there like that and you get somebody commenting, "Oh, yeah, I will do blah, blah, blah to you," and then you get upset at it, you put it out there.
And here's my thing. Whatever happened to, this is why you said it's with the parents, and the parents got it wrong. Whatever happened to people wanted to show themselves for how they were raised, or how they weren't raised, but they chose a better path.
Mm-hmm.
You see, with every person that either has a good or bad upbringing, pay attention to the ones who actually got through it. Pay attention to the ones that are actually humble. Pay attention to the ones that are similar to us. Mm-hmm. Pay attention to the ones who are just sitting there going through the motions and still fighting through. Because at the end of the day, that's what life is. And
look,
if you don't have that somebody that there's always a somebody for someone. It's just a matter of fact about you got to do it the right way.
And look, you guys are not off the hook. I mean, we've been talking about the women, but a lot of these guys coming out here all hip hop, thugged out, stuff like that. I mean, it's like, look, the image you put out there.
And here's the thing too. It's not just the image; it's the false image.
Well, it's
It's
still
a
an
false
image,
image.
yeah.
You want to say, oh, this, that. You think that the gangbang is the way to life when it's not.
Exactly.
True gangster is when you live in the gospel, or not live in the
Look,
gospel.
we're almost telekinetic, folks, because he's reading off of my mind some of the stuff I'm gonna say.
True gangster is being where you needed, not being where you want to be. True gangster is being where you needed.
Exactly.
And I'm always where I'm needed. When I'm at work, I'm busting my ass making the money.
Yeah.
And if I'm not there, I'm home. And when I mean by bust my ass making the money, I make sure I'm paying my bills. I got to make sure I get food from my lady and I'm the man of my house.
Yeah. You taking care of home.
And with that said, I'm taking care of home. Yet you got so many of my generation that think that they can make money off of being lazy as heck, and it really bothers me. It peeves me. It peeves me to the point because, like you said, they have all this knowledge. They're doing nothing with it.
Exactly.
They're doing nothing.
Yeah, because
And then they wonder why they never felt any true growth in their life, because you never challenged yourself. You always wanted the easy way. Just because you want the easy way, it doesn't mean it's the right way. That's what being a true gangster is all about. You gotta take and remember this. Just because it's not easy, it doesn't mean it's not possible.
Exactly.
And this is where people get it mixed up. God promised us victory. He didn't say that it was gonna be easy. So please take note, because again, if everything has become easy, that means that you're not where you need to be.
Right.
You are where the government wants you to be. You are where you want to be, not what is needed for you.
Exactly.
Two differences.
And see, the thing of it is with the old generation versus new, to put my synopsis on it, we did our dirt, but we try to separate it. We try to compartmentalize our dirt. I'm surprised I actually said it. And basically, it's like we didn't want to bring the stuff home. We didn't want to indoctrinate kids into the stuff that we're doing. We tried to put all these buffers out there where it's like, okay, we're going to do our dirt. We need to do it the right way. But we also had God in our lives a lot more than this generation had, because it's been erased from society, basically. It's almost like kind of how the generation now is back then, where it was like, okay, if you say something about the Bible, they almost ready to sue you. You know what I'm saying?
This is a prime example where history is repeating itself.
It is.
And it's becoming worse because why?
It's just flipping the characters.
It's flipping the script. Not only that, either pay attention to how you guys act. You guys don't give a crap about things, and when you don't care, that gets other people to figure out what type of person you are from the jump. Because you're being selfish. You're not being selfless. You're not being the person that you need to be. You're being the person that you choose to be, that you want to be. And you think it's the right path until you come across someone that's going to redirect your thought process on it.
It's almost like society, and you kept mentioning the government. The government wants you to be a victim. Whereas back in the day, we weren't trying to be the victim. We was trying to be the victors. Now it's like if you try to achieve something, you're being hated upon.
And here's the sad part. Just because you mess up doesn't mean that's going to be you for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
You guys, my generation, it's sad. I'm going to be honest with you. I was in the correct... this is when I was like, 7 years old? 8 maybe?
Mm-hmm.
I was in a karate tournament.
Okay.
And the one thing that peeved me was the fact about when I was competing for the forms. Who had the best form.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. I'm gonna be honest. I did. I'm being humble when I say this. I did.
Yeah.
Because I make sure I watch the other kids. I don't only focus on myself when I'm at the tournament. I'm paying attention to what's around me.
Yeah.
Because if you do, then that'll help you figure to find your centerpiece and being in control of what you got to do.
I get you.
So I was doing that. They gave me second place, man. Like, for real. I mean, there's no. My pops raised me to be very competitive, man. I have a very competitive spirit.
Right.
So with that said, if you knew you got first place, and I saw the other kids, every other kid messed up on something.
Right.
I was the only kid that literally snapped. I went hardcore on my stuff.
Right.
I was so disciplined. That's all I wanted out of the martial art was discipline. I didn't want, and then and then you got the other kids that got ribbons just for participating.
Yeah.
That is where. Now this is where. Listen, get rid of those freaking ribbons. Stop.
Are they still doing it?
Yes. Yes. You look at any. Listen, are they doing it in professional sports too?
Aren't they doing it on video games? I mean,
they give you a trophy just for participating, brother. And it's sad. And this is where my generation feels entitled. That is what the government wants you to do. They want you to feel entitled when you participate in something. That doesn't matter. Yeah, you participated. Congratulations. You did. Did you get first, second, and third? No. So, what was the point? You know, it's a competitive thing. You gotta have that when you lose, accept the loss as it is. Take it as a lesson.
I'm acting like I'm surprised here, but hold up.
You're probably still surprised.
All right, so I already know we all know about the participation trophies. Some of them be like, oh, you gotta reward everybody because, you don't want to make anybody feel bad. We're too hard on Philly. No, it is, because it's like, if you got second place, first place, third place, whatever, it's like, hell, I work for that. But then you see some kid getting some trophy and so forth, it's like, well, what the fuck, what the hell did
what was this for?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I mean, you can't even throw a lunge punch and you get a damn trophy for it? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's like, it gets to the point where it gets old, and it ties into the subject, because our old generation, look, we may get on you, but we wanted you to get better.
Listen. When this is the thing that I realized. When my dad yells at me, or when my dad gets on me,
it's out of love.
Yes, it's out of the love that he has for me. Because again, he's trying to implement
he wants you to get better.
Get your butt up. Be a victor. Don't be a victim. The moment you victimize yourself, the moment you lose, you lost. Lost it with yourself.
And my bosses, my coaches, my trainers, whatever I had back in the day, because, some of I had a boxing career that lasted one fight or whatever. So it's like all of them wanted me to get better. When they cursed me out, I didn't think about, they're cursing me out because they hated me or whatever. Damn the feelings. It's like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And when they said, I'll say it, when you're fucking up and everything, it's like, they're telling you that, look, you're better than what you're showing me. And
learn from it.
And you have to build upon it. You can't just sit over there and be like, I can't believe I got cursed out. Now I'm this, I'm that. You're playing victim. They didn't want you to play a victim.
No.
They want you to be strong. They wanted you to be a victor.
Now, I like to say something about that because I'm a very emotional person. So when I was little, my dad used to snap on me a few times because he had a short temper back then. Mm-hmm. But it was verbal. Mm-hmm. So when he snapped at me, I'm like, dang, all right, I must have done something very terrible. My first analysis was like, dang, I messed up. Mm-hmm. And I was self-reflecting on myself. I'm like, dang, why did I do this? Why did I cause my dad to do this? Mm-hmm. So it was more self-reflecting on myself when I got upset. I'm like, dang, I can't be mad at him. I'm mad at myself. So it's like, I'm like, man, it's okay to momentarily feel that way. It's okay.
You're human.
Because afterwards, my dad when I go out there and have my moment, my dad goes up, he goes, son, it's okay. I'm not, because he reassures me that I'm not doing this to break you down. I'm doing this to help build you up. So but that's what parents gotta understand. You gotta communicate with your kid. Communication is key. Yes, communicate with your kid and discipline. Because if you don't implement discipline, you're gonna look at how. This is what happens when you don't implement discipline. Oh my gosh. You got these girls. Here.
Go ahead.
So you got these girls that'll put their pants up too high to where you can basically see their freaking hoo-ha, man. You know? You got that. You got so many of them that are wearing the crop tops, the half tops. I'm like, what the heck? You know? And it's like that it's disgusting. It really is disgusting. It's a sad truth. And we're laughing because it's the truth. It's the truth. We're only trying to help you out. We're trying to give you the tools here
Y'all
on
don't
how you
want
can
me to
become
do that,
self.
folks.
No, but it really had to be. I really had to do that because this is what you know. It's what even the generation after me is doing right now.
I know.
You know, and all
I shudder to think what's coming behind you, man.
And I know that all I can do is pray for them.
I shudder to think what's coming behind you, man.
It's sad.
You know, I mean, it's like,
and then those same women that are dressing like that are the same women that are complaining. Oh, why are men looking at me? Look at what you're doing. You're putting your things way up here. You're seeing the whole curvature, the whole form. I'm like, what the heck?
and look, let me tell y'all something. I'm still tripping off of the participation trophies. Ever since they started that shit like 20 years ago or whatever it is, yep. I'm amazed at different stories of how it's been implemented. And I'm like, and I don't listen to a lot of news, so I don't hear all of the stuff. That's why I'm like, hold up, the fuck? I mean, seriously, you're going to get a trophy just for doing this? I think one of the sites I did designs with had given me some sort of certificate. And I was like, what is this shit for? And then it was like, oh, you created like 10 designs. Okay, and what else? I'm like waiting for the punchline, like, what else did I do? And they was like, you created 10 designs, so we giving you a certificate. I'm like, motherfuck the certificate. I'm like, you know, I haven't done anything. Right. You know, did the design get 1 billion views or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Then you celebrate that. But for creating the damn thing? Are you fucking serious?
Exactly. And see, we're doing this not to become big. Just so you know. Because I was just talking about how people are making easy money off of YouTube channels. So I get that. We're not doing this for that. We're doing this to make sure that the message is being spreaded. We don't care about how many likes or views we get. We just care about the fact about people are watching and listening. Because this is all that we're trying to do here. That's all we're trying to do here. We're trying to make sure you guys are waking up. You guys need to wake up.
I'm not looking for a participation trophy.
No, we're not looking for that either. Nope. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
We would not be here if we knew, oh yeah, we're we know that what we're doing right here is bigger than both of us. it's the beauty of it, you know.
I'm sorry, folks. I'm still mad at the participation.
I know. I am too. Like, and it gets these kids to feel so entitled. It's the entitlement that's a wrong feeling.
I mean, it's like you just show up for work. It's like, congratulations, you showed up.
And remember, the people who wins in first, second, and third place are the people who failed the most in private,
yeah.
and they did better. They learned. So what does that tell you? There's no, you know, is there a real winner? No, it's just the fact about, all right, you did it. You know, you finally completed something that you've been dreaming about. And what I love about a lot of these, even when it comes to like the sports people, you know, you got I'm gonna get started with Curry.
Go ahead. Steph Curry?
Yep, Steph Curry. This man from high school has been nothing but, what has he been doing? Working on shooting drills, shooting. Just shooting. And look at where he's at right now.
Mm-hmm.
You got, and look how humble he is even after.
Yeah.
This man is so humble. Dude, he is living the gospel.
His dad was that way.
He puts his faith out there. Why? Because he's sharing his testimony when he's playing that game.
Mm-hmm.
Each game that he's playing, each game that all these players are playing,
mm-hmm.
all of them, doesn't matter. They're all sharing a testimony.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And that's where they got to say when it comes to football, when it comes to basketball, baseball, any sport or any professional entertainment is sharing a testimony from someone else's personal life. And if we're not learning from that, what do you want? What do you want to learn from watching stuff that's not even good for your soul? You want to listen to garbage, trash music. Don't get me started with a lot of these new artists either, man, because I don't. The only new artists that are actually very good right now, and because they're spitting the truth of what it is, Dax, Tom McDonald. Who else you have? You have NF. He keeps it about his personal stuff, but he's very honest about it. So you got NF. You also have who else you have? I mean, and the only three people, those are the only three people that I see that are putting their faith into action right now. When it comes to music, when it comes to being involved in that lifestyle, because it's a lifestyle that really represents that true gangster.
Now I'm gonna tell you, the best music of all time came out of the 70s. Everything that they possibly came up with in every genre, you can play today. And they do play it today because they sample a lot of that stuff out of the 70s. You can go from funk, you can go from rock and roll, you can go to R&B. Hip-hop came out of the 70s.
Oh yeah, hip-hop is where it began. That's where it all began.
Everything that came out of it, you can sample some of everything, and I guarantee you it has something tied to the 70s.
Isn't that where the very first wasn't that where NWA? Is that the same years that it started from?
Well, NWA came out in the 80s, but if you think about
it branched off from the 70s.
Exactly, because they sampled a lot of the funk and a lot of the rhythm and some of the riffs off of a lot of that music back then.
And then that's when they added poetry.
Exactly.
That's what rap is. Rap is poetry, but there's poetry that is good. There's poetry that is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to be the one. The older generation probably got it down packed, but there's...
Rap music came out of jazz because you had a lot of scat,
and R&B.
musicians where they would sit over there, they'd be doing that, they'd talk real fast in their songs and so forth. And it started from the 40s, and then it developed, it came out, came back, went here, went there. But then, finally, from house parties to clubs, it became a genre. Kind of like go-go music in DC and so forth. I mean, the creativity that came out of the 70s, I don't know whether it was the drugs, I don't know, this is going to grate against them, whether they made deals with the devil, I don't know, because, the devil's responsibility in heaven was music. A lot of people don't know that.
Yep, a lot of people don't understand that Lucifer was the DJ of heaven.
Basically,
and with that said, when you got a lot of this music that is playing the stuff that they're playing that, you got mumble rapping nowadays.
I know, right?
Oh man, that's garbage.
Yeah.
Why? Because this is what majority of my generation will say about that music. I love the beat. The beat's amazing. Oh yeah, the beat's amazing, right? That's all. That's all.
Words away from
take the words away. Yes, but the words, the message. Is pure garbage for your soul. It's nothing but...
But you know what I find myself doing? I'll pull up an instrumental and just use that and listen to the song that way and just...
That's what I'm saying. Why? Because...
The music itself is like, man, I can really... it's a mood-changing thing. Everybody knows that about music. If you want to get hyped up about something, you hit something hard, some rap or some rock and roll heavy metal. If you want to mellow out, you want to hear a ballad, you usually go gospel, R&B, something like that. Just something to change your mood and so forth. But some of the words and some of the stuff, I mean, people will throw in my face, oh, you listen to NWA, you listen to 2 Live Crew and all this other stuff. I was young and I was stupid. I mean, I'm human.
There you go.
But do I listen to it now? No, I don't.
See, and that's where it's at. It's all about the self-reflecting. It's self-reflecting. It's becoming that self-aware. And see, it takes that just to make yourself a better person.
Yeah.
You got the only way how you can make a world a better place is looking at yourself in the mirror and make the change. It's just it's a simple message, yet people when you got a lot of people in my generation that don't want to look at themselves in the mirror.
Now, how would you, so we can wrap up this episode? This is his episode. He came up with this topic, folks. So this is Brandon. All right. So how would you get the younger generation? Because the older generation, we're dying out. So how would you get the younger generation and the successive generations to change? How would you get basically said Jesus, but how would you get them to Jesus to feel like the way that you felt?
How can I say this? When I'm praying for them, praying is such a powerful thing that people will never understand, or a lot of people who have not experienced what I've experienced yet. And that experience helped me to understand a lot about that. You know, I can't do anything. I can't force people to believe what I want to believe it. I can't get people to do it. The only way I can get it is just by giving a message, sharing my testimony, sharing our testimony, and just praying for everybody, you know, because at the end of the day, it's easy to be upset at one another. It's easy to criticize one another. It's easy to fall into that hatred or fall into that anger. It's like, you know what, yeah, no, I'm upset at this, that. And yes, there's a lot of things I'm very frustrated about, but you know what? The Lord's working on me with that. And I'm praying, and I've been praying for not even only my generation. I'm praying for everybody, because that's what we need to do as a collective community. You want to seek unity, boy, you better put in that action, because I'll tell you what, actions speak louder than words. That's why any stuff that I'm talking about right now is from experience that I've had.
And likewise, a lot of the stuff that I talk about is definitely experience and just observing and watching the world as it unfolds in front of me. So, you put your comments down there. You know, him talking about hoo-has and me getting angry over participation trophies for like the 20th time. Every time I hear it, I just find that to be the most ridiculous thing ever.
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even. We might have to do a whole separate episode of that one. But anyhow,
yeah.
Like, share, subscribe, and definitely comment. And let us know how you feel about the generations, the older generation, the younger generation, and so forth. And say what's up, what's going on. People have to have that understanding, and we can't produce stuff without some feedback sometimes.
Communication is key, people. That's why when we ask for the feedback, we ask for it to just put it in the comments. Why? Because again, we're not only doing this for you guys. We want to hear you, not the other way around. Like, yeah, you guys are hearing us, but are you really listening? You gotta listen. Hearing is one thing, but listening is another. You gotta take it. It was serious. It was serious enough when Jesus died for us. That's why we're serious about it now.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Until next time, folks.